Hi, Andy Excel back with another NFXL podcast, and these are my part two or episode two, if you like, of my post draft combine rankings with just 45 days left until the actual draft takes place. This is the period of time with free agency opening up later today, where teams start to build their rosters for next season. So what happens in free agency has an effect on what will happen in the draft, obviously. But these are what I'm seeing as the leading candidates at each position ahead of the combine. And basically, these all of these positional lists form the top 250 draft prospects at the time of broadcast, which today is the 8th of March. So, like I say, 45 days until the first day of the draft. I've already done quarterbacks, so let's have a look at running backs. So, having looked at and updated my team's needs list recently ahead of free agency kicking off, I have 20 potential openings for running backs with Carolina, Denver, Jacksonville, Kansas City, the LA Chargers, Minnesota, and Seattle, along with maybe Dallas, New Orleans, and Washington, um, being the teams most likely to look for a running back early in the draft, as I see it. And again, free agency offers alternatives for those teams, most notably in the form of Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Rico Dowdle, Joe Mixon, Tyler Algier, J.K. Dobbins, Isaiah Pacheco, Najee Harris, amongst others, which is which is as with quarterbacks, could limit the early round opportunities for running backs in this draft class. There is some cream at the top of the crop, but days one and two could be on the quiet side for running backs, particularly rounds one and two. Um, Before we see more get taken in, say, round three, round four territory, more round four, I think. Um, so they'll be taken more as backups, junior committee members, shot at starting possibly. But the top two or three are the ones that are going to have the clearest path to being starting running backs in the NFL. And then once we get past the top, I don't know, six probably, you're then getting into, there's a couple at seven and eight, which I'll go down the list in a minute, which again have shots to be junior, good committee members, good matchups with other existing running backs maybe, to make a 1-2 punch. And then after that, you're really getting into depth guys that maybe somebody will find some gold down there, because it happens virtually every year with running backs. Well, somebody gets drafted late and then appears to be much better than their draft position. Isaiah Pacheco was one example, for instance. Um, so these are I've currently got 18 in my list at the moment for running backs to get drafted in this draft. 18 in my top 250, and I'll just run down the list of where they stand and their overall big ball position. So Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame is one of the outstanding candidates in this draft. Full stop. Probably one of the best players in the draft, but I've got him at 7 on my draft board currently. He should be higher than that in terms of talent, but that doesn't necessarily determine where he's going to go. So I've got him at 7. He's the only round one guy as I see it at the moment. Then I've got a couple in round two. Um, Jadarian Price, sorry, one in round two, I should say. His Notre Dame teammate, Jadarian Price, is at 49. And now he could move up. And again, a bit like quarterbacks, if somebody's missed out on Love but wants to ensure they get the clear second best in this draft, then they could even go late in round one for Price. That's his, but I've got him at 49. I see him more as a mid second rounder. A guy who's vaulted up over about four or five other players even, to now be the clear number three and a round three candidate is Mike Washington out of Arkansas. I've got him at 79 on my big board. So, he's the last of the three that are in contention for day one and two selection, as far as I can see. Well, like I think are likely to go on day one and two. There are another three which I'm about to come to, which are just outside of that, like they're early round four territory. But again, if demand is there from teams, or a team particularly likes one of the next group, they could move up into round three. And that next group of three players is at the fourth running back on my list is Jonah Coleman of Washington at 103. The fifth is Emmett Johnson of Nebraska at 106. And the sixth is Katron Allen out of Penn State at 107. So, if you think 100 players go in the first three rounds, they're they're 3, 6, and 7 places out of that, so they could easily get into the third round. After them, a couple of sort of borderline round 3, round 4, possibly dropping into round 4. Cateron Allen's Penn State teammate Nick Singleton, he's at 133 on my big board and is the 7th running back in my list. And the 8th is Damon Claiborne out of Wake Forest, who sits at 144 on my big board. Now, outside of those are the 8 guys that seem to be the clear top of this class. And then we get into the, like I say, the players that you could strike gold on any of these guys, but I'll run down the other 10, as it were. Jamari Taylor of Virginia is my 9th running back at 175 on my big board, and 10th is Seth McGowan of Kentucky, just one spot behind him at 176. Then we've got 11th running back is Le'Veon Moss of Texas A&M at 190. 12th is Jaden Knott of Oklahoma at 195. So again, those two are close together. Then we get another pair at 13 in running back list, Roman Hemby of Indiana at 216, and his Hoosier teammate Kalon Black is the 14th running back at 218. A guy making waves recently, appropriately, because he's out of Navy. Eli Heidenreich is the 15th running back on my list. He's at 235, but he could be on the up, as could Adam Randall out of Clemson at 240 on my big board. Then I've got Jam Miller of Alabama at 248 and Terrion Stewart of Virginia Tech at 250. So they're the 18 that I see it. As I say, Love is one of the outstanding candidates in this class. And he had a good combine too. Price did pretty well at the combine. Mike Washington absolutely shone at the combine. And like I say, he vaulted over the likes of Coleman and Coleman Johnson and the two Nittany Lions back to now be favourite to be the 3rd running back taken. After the top 7 or 8, the rest will compete for mid or late round picks to fill the needs of the other teams looking for running backs in this draft. So that's the running back picture as I see it right now. So as I say, I'm going to try and do at least one of these a day this week. So tomorrow you'll probably get wide receivers and tight ends. So look forward to that tomorrow. See you later.